Have you come across NXOpen Learning Assistant? If not yet, then you must have to try it. The reason is this is a learning assistant that is trained on the learning resources of NXOpen, and because it is trained on the specific learning resources, it can help you get the exact answer to your queries within NXOpen CAD customization and programming. Let me show you how it works. Definitely, first you need to get into the description section and find out the link to access this learning assistant. Once you fill in the form, you get to the access of this learning assistant. Once you get there, you can ask him any question related to NXOpen, and it will most probably answer it. I do not guarantee that it will 100% going to answer all your questions, but most of the questions it will definitely answer. And the reason you should use this NXOpen Learning Assistant is as a new learner, as a person who wanted to know more and more about this NXOpen. You come here, you ask the specific question, and you get the specific answer. So you don't need to go and Google it. You don't need to search any other uh, place for finding out your answers. You can ask the answers here, and you will get the answers. In rare case, if you do not get the answer, what I am doing is I am training this learning assistant on the back end in a frequent intervals, so that whatever questions you see those are unanswered few days back, it is going to be trained on those answers. It will be trained on those answers, so that you will get those answers in the coming days for sure. So now let's see this typical use case of using learning NXOpen assistant. Now what I have done is I am looking at the APIs and the programs related to assembly. So obviously, if I am a new learner, I will get few questions like, what is a root component? Because root component is something which is very important to understand, and it is being used in all of the cases in case of assembly. So what is root component is can be a basic question one can have. So I have asked the assistant what is root component, and you can see I have got the detailed answer here. In a root component object, sorry, the root component object serves as a root node for the parts tree of components in an NX file representing an assembly. So I get a pinpoint exact definition of root component. It further says that you can access all the other components in a part file by traversing downloads from the root component. The root component will be nothing if the part file is not an assembly. Each component contains a list of links to its children, a link to its parent, and the link to the corresponding part file, which is called the prototype of the component. It has not you answered you about the root component, but it has gone further uh, into it, and it has given you more about the prototype information of a component. Then the obvious question from me was, what is prototype of a component? So it has answered me that as well very clearly. It says that the prototype of a component in an NX part file refers to the corresponding part file that the component is linked to. Each component contains a link to its prototype part, which represents the actual part file associated with that component. This link allows for easy access to the geometry and properties of the part represented by a component. It is again very straightforward and simple explanation. What is prototype? Prototype gives you access to the geometry and properties of the part. Now, I have got another question related to the assembly, that was, what is occurrence of a component, which is again something Many of you guys get confused with what is prototype, what is occurrence in case of assemblies. So you can ask those specific questions to this assistant, and you will get the answers. Now I got the answer for occurrence as well. This is the little lengthier answer that I got. An occurrence of a component in an NX part file refers to the representation of that component within the parent assembly. When a part is inserted into an assembly, not only does the occurrence of the inserted part get created in the parent assembly, but occurrences of all the objects inside it also are also created. These object occurrences are essentially members of a component and are linked back to their prototypes, which are the original objects they represent. Each occurrence behaves similarly to a normal solid body in an assembly, allowing for operations such as planking, layer assignment, attribute, weight calculation, center of gravity calculation. However, unlike a real solid body, an occurrence merely contains links to the geometry data that reside in the original part file. Very clear and detailed answer. Yeah. So this is how you can use this learning assistant. And guess what? Using this learning assistant is free. Yes, it is for limited time, but I urge you to get into this and fast track your learning and use it as much as possible. Now, before I close this video, last thing, why I have created this learning assistant. The reason is I do not want you to struggle to get the answer for the easy questions, the basic questions. Point number one. The point number two is I do not want myself get busy into answering these questions. So I have hit two uh, two things in one solution. So I have addressed two things, two challenges in this one solution. So get into this and try it out.
Meet your personal NXOpen learning assistant. You can get your answers, even guidance, and a code snippet instantly from this assistant. So, why are you waiting for? Try it now.